the Dynamite Drop, baby. You know the names. It's Ashlee and Shawn, the verbal bang bang gang. Guns up, all elite takes, no filler hitting you. Harder than a Blade Runner. You want heat, they deliver every week. It's a thriller, it's a Dynamite Drop, powered by the hub, and that's undisputed.
Well, of course, if you hear that music, you know what this is. This is your Dynamite Drop. And I promise you, Ashlee, this week, this is a 3 thumbs up episode of the Dynamite Drop. And if you don't like that, you can talk to Bob from HR.
He's very angry.
We do not recommend you to talk to Bob from HR unless you're ready to show him you're able to live up to his high standards. And we hope we do. Now, before we get too far in this show, and Bob gets mad at us, allow me to tell you about The Hub. The Hub is a great collection of pro wrestling podcasts. Every Tuesday, you have this Raw Straw Raw. It's Eric B., Randy C. They cover Monday Night Raw. These guys had done the Lord's work in the last couple of weeks, so they decided to take a week off. So they'll be back next Monday with a review of that episode of Raw. Of course, every Wednesday night, you can check out Huge Pop with Donnie DeSilva and Jimmy Cortez. They give you the week in professional wrestling. And, of course, today, Friday, it's your Bang Bang Gang. It's Ashlee and Shawn. We do everything for Dynamite, AEW. And, of course, tomorrow, normally, it would be the Smack Daddies. But like the Raw Dogs, they decided to take a week off because, man, they went for WrestleMania, so they deserve at least 1 week off. So, Ashlee, we got the keys to the kingdom. We're going to run amok here, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of WWE. That's a well-deserved week off.
So, we had a very interesting episode of Dynamite that we're going to review for you here. We're going to start with the 8-man tag match. They opened the show on Dynamite. Damn good 8-man tag match. Ricochet teams up with the evil EVPs and their best friend Okada versus Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight. This match was a banger.
Yeah, not unexpected with the level of talent with these guys. And I am just going to gush about our friend Ricochet for a second, because not only is he great in the ring, and I think we kind of already knew that even from his time in WWE, but man, is he just doing some of my favorite character work going right now. I love this guy.
Okay, so I'm guessing you're talking about the time that he's on the outside of the ring, holding onto the ropes, and he's borrowing Matt Jackson's hair to look like he had hair, and he's doing the Young Bucks pose with the other Jackson. I'm going like, dude is on another level.
Yeah, so good. He's so funny. He's playing perfectly into this heel character. Sets the turn.
Okay, so we get to towards the end of this match. We see Ricochet trip up Mark Briscoe, and it reads right into a Rainmaker. And 1, 2, 3, the evil EVPs and Okada win. And we see probably the teasing of Omega versus Okada. The only question, Ashlee, are we getting a unification match? Is it the International title versus Continental title? Winner decides all?
I do think there's a chance we get that. There are a lot of men's singles titles floating around, especially with what we see, with the ROH titles consistently being on AEW television. So it wouldn't surprise me to see that, and I think there's a good chance of it.
So we'll go to the second match of this evening. It's the trios match. The Ops are coming out. They're facing Nick Carminado, Rhett Titus, and Miles Hawkins. The Ops have a good showing here. It's a squash match. What's important about this one is the Death Riders decided to rain on the Ops parade again. This time, Moxley decided to take one for the team to get Samoa Joe away from the ring. And Ashlee, I hate Claudio Castagnoli now. He took out Shibata like they did Hook.
Well, join Eddie King. Death Riders continuing to sneak attack Samoa Joe, which is leading to what we're getting 2 weeks from now at, what is it, Beach Break?
Exactly. It's going to be Beach Break. And Samoa Joe has had enough. He has had enough of the Death Riders. So he's like, hey, I already have this world title shot. Why don't we just do it inside of a freaking cage? Ashlee, can you name something even worse than having to face Samoa Joe in a freaking cage?
I would be hard-pressed to think of someone. As we were kind of discussing before we came on air, Jon Moxley is usually the one bringing the violence to his opponents, but Jon Moxley better be ready for violence to be brought to him, because Samoa Joe in a cage is a terrifying prospect.
You know what we say on this podcast? We're here for the violence, and in about 2 weeks, we're going to have a lot of violence to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is the violence. That's going to be top tier violence.
So we did have another elimination match to set up a possible future title shot as Tony Storm face off against a top-level Joshi professional wrestler, Yanamesha. And, of course, nice match. Tony wins. And here comes our CEO out to talk some smack, but she wasn't able to talk too much smack because she got blindsided by Jamie freaking Hager.
Yeah, and honestly, I just want to shout out Mercedes for doing that in those heels, because doing anything in those heels was insane. And she took the bump, she took the hit, she went off running. I was like, damn, she's just talented in all aspects.
Actually, I had to rewind this. I could not figure out how on the planet she was able to run away in those hills.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I was on Blue Sky speeding along with the show, and I was like, I would have had some sort of Final Destination like death. That's what would have happened. But I am super excited for this match. It's so great to see Jamie Hayter kind of being pushed like this upon returning, and I would not be upset if she's the one to give Mercedes her first singles loss.
You know, I'm still leaning towards maybe it's going to be Hayter instead of Monet. I feel like you have built up Monet so strong. She can take this one L. You want to revisit Hayter versus Tony Storm. And my feeling was like Tony Storm versus Mercedes Monet, you have these two titles. One of these titles is going to become vacant. That's a TBS championship. And oh my God, you know, when that becomes vacant, Tony's only idea is going to be, hey, let's have a tournament.
That is a go-to idea for Tony. I'll say that.
Okay, so we're coming to the segment that gave me the title for this episode, as the Hurt Syndicate comes down to the ring. Now, before this, backstage, MVP needs to do a little talking. He's doing a little prep work here because he wants to get this deal done. He wants MJF into the club, and Bob is still not having this. And MVP says, look, dude, I know the dude is a jackass. I know you don't like him. You like that car, that's fine. I know you can buy your own car, but look, if this dude gets anywhere out of line, I promise I give you permission to hurt him like he's never been hurt before. And the smile on Bobby Lashley's face was like Christmas in freaking May. Christmas in May.
Yeah, and kind of thought that was gonna get to him. I thought that would work.
Well, we get down to the segment. We see the Hurt Syndicate in the ring. Of course, MJF comes down, and an orange kind of blazer didn't look too bad. I was kind of thinking, maybe I should look and see if I get one for myself. I don't know. We'll have to see. So MJF decides to give some props to Shelton Benjamin. He says, look, Shelton's looking sharp. This dude's great. Da-da-da-da-da-da. MVP, my buddy, my friend. You're one of my lifelong friends in this business. You're cool. Then he goes, Bob. And I was like, God, you haven't learned your lessons. Don't call this guy Bob.
MJF has always proven to us he is his own worst enemy. I've seen some kind of divided, opinions on this, but I like this because it just continues to show us that even when given the opportunity and the grace and the chance to present himself as somebody that they would want to have in his group, he just can't help himself but like push Bobby Lashley's buttons, and he knows he's doing it on purpose. So he just feels like he can strong arm his way into anything, and he is just unwilling to back down when he's wrong.
I want to give Bobby Lashley a lot of credit here because this guy teased this crowd with this thumping. He was enjoying the whole minute. He started at the middle, he went slightly up, then he went slightly back down, then slightly back up again, and finally he was like, no. And this caused MJF to lose his freaking mind. And he just said, Bob, I'm tired of your beep. And he's like, look, I gave you women. I gave you cars. I helped you win matches. I gave you some money. What do you want? What's going to make you work here? I know. Maybe some road game, boy, because I'm tired of your beep. And I was like going, dude, you're going to get yourself killed.
So many bald jokes lately with Ricochet and Callis and all this.
MVP and Chuck Benson just look at MJ was like, he just effed up, and they decided to exit stage right. Like, sorry, you just did it. And you can see MVP as he's leaving the ring, he's motioning to MJF like, you ran your mouth is a little bit too much. And Bobby Lashley proceeds to grab MJF, push him into a corner, and go like, we hurt people. If you want to impress me, hurt somebody. The whole time, MJF is like, Montel. And like, nobody's coming to help him.
I don't blame MVP. He's a fantastic competitor himself, but Bobby Lashley is a big man and very scary. I would not want to be on his bad side. MJF seems willing. He seems willing to go hurt somebody. So do we kind of pick off where we've been headed with Hangman? I mean, Hangman's kind of preoccupied with the Owen now. Is he going to pick someone else at random? I'd love to see MJF more consistently in some in-ring action.
I have a funny feeling because we're heading into Double or Nothing season. Actually, am I crazy to think maybe we get Bobby Lashley versus MJF at, say, Double or Nothing, and if MJF can beat Bobby Lashley, he's in the Hurt Syndicate?
No, I don't think that's like a far-fetched idea. I think that's something maybe they could push towards because, MVP still seems to be an advocate for MJF joining. So I could see maybe, maybe a gentleman's, at least on MVP's thought process, a gentleman's like, oh, you beat him, you can join. But I don't know.
I just want to see some violence. I'm ready for Bobby Lashley to rip his head off, and I just want it as soon as possible.
Yeah, and an interesting prospect. We know how great MJF is in the ring, and we haven't seen Bobby Lashley in many singles matches yet here in AEW.
Very true. Now, backstage, we see Nick Wyane and the Patriarchy. They're getting ready to do a promo segment, and here comes Jay Lethal into the screen, and Jay Lethal goes to the new ROH TV champion, saying, hey, I know you're the youngest champion in this promotion. I'm the longest reigning ROH TV champion of all time. Why don't we do something in the ring? And Nick Wayne's just sitting there kind of weaseling his way out, but Father knows best as Christian Cage takes the damn mic and goes like, he accepts.
Yeah, a little bit more of this like fracturing we've seen between the two over the past few months. Still seems like we're headed for the big babyface split for Nick Wyane. So hoping to see kind of what he does leading up to him leaving for Japan for the Best of Super Juniors.
Well, as we lead this backstage segment, we see Father Year Christian Cage look at Nick Wyane and go like, if you want to be the champion, you need to do the beeping work. He gave some Father advice and he exits stage right.
Father of the Year, baby.
So this leads us to the ROH TV title match that we got. And Nick Wyane had a dang good showing against Jay Lethal. He beats him clean. There's this moment where I'm thinking, oh, we're playing the Luchasaurus game where he wins the match, but he can't have the title at all until Father of the Year, Christian Cage, puts the title around his son, and he looks proud at him. And I was going like, come on, Christian, let's tease this a little bit more, please, and thank you.
A little bit of the rehashing of that, but it seems like it's finally time for Nick Wyane to sort of break away, especially with how heavily they've been pushing him on TV, singles matches and stuff. I'd like to see him in a bigger role. He's been doing fantastic.
So he heads off to Japan to start the Super Juniors tournament. I do believe that tournament's next week. So this may be the pin they put in place until he can get back for that tournament and we pick up where we left off. And we'll have to see where this goes. And I got to, like we said, I feel like eventually you're going to have that Christian Cage versus Nick Wyane match. And however you want to play, do you want to play Nick Wyane as the babyface or you can play Christian as the babyface? Whoever wins that match is going to be your heel going forward.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see for sure, especially kind of with Christian Cage having been on the heel side for a long time. It'll be interesting to see if they keep him on the heel path for now.
Well, we're going to get to a story at the end of the show that may give us an answer to that question. We'll just have a question down in a minute. But let's finish up this Dynamite review as we're at the main event, my friend. It's the second Men's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament semifinal match. Hangman Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher. And these two guys cannot wait to get this match started as Hangman Adam Page gets down the ring and he butts heads with Kyle Fletcher. It's two bulls in the ring. And that referee just needs to get the F out of the way.
Yeah, so happy to have been wrong on my prediction for this match because love Hangman. And I am excited for Hangman versus Ospreay. And what more can we say about Kyle Fletcher and how great he has been in the ring over the past few months?
He's been given this match of the year contenders each time he steps into the ring. This match was no exception to the rule. I mean, we get the brainbuster on the apron. We see him break out some crazy moves. Hangman Adam Page does get the butt shot lariat, and it looks like he kicks out of it. He has to go back and hits another butt shot lariat at the end of the match to secure the victory. And Ashlee, I was with you. I've been championing this Ospreay versus Fletcher number 3 match for All In. Now we get a match that says this is good. It's Hangman Adam Page versus Will Ospreay. And who knows? Maybe Kyle Fletcher causes Will.
I wouldn't even honestly be very upset if Kyle Fletcher got involved. This guy has been just, like you said, just match of the year contenders. Every time he has a match, his character work has been great. I love seeing him step up like this and would love to see him get some sort of big match for All In.
I agree with you. Honestly, I was hoping he was going to beat in the final where he could go after the AEW World Title, but it's interesting because now we have Hangman Adam Page versus Will Ospreay. We got 2 baby faces. We know that Samoa Joe versus Jon Moxley is coming up in 2 weeks, and the winner of that one is going to go to Double or Nothing. So, are we still keeping Jon Moxley champion until All In, and maybe Hangman Adam Page is the one for Team AEW to take the title off of him?
I don't know. Honestly, Ospreay or Hangman being in that realm right now does not upset me in either way, because either one of those guys in the champion automatically kind of puts guys like Fletcher in the title scene.
Very true. Me personally, I don't know if we can run this Death Rider story that long, because now we're looking to run this sucker to like mid-July.
It's weird. It's such an up and down storyline that, like you said, I don't know if it's sustainable just because of how inconsistent, I guess is the word, it's been.
I feel like it's been like 2 different stories. I feel like 2024, when we first started with this, they had one idea, and we got to like World's End, and they decided, oh, we can't do that. So it kind of got shoved to the back for a second. Then we picked it up back when the EVPs got here, and now it seems like the EVPs and the Death Riders are working together in tandem to kind of run AEW, and this is the new storyline, which is a lot better than who is this mystery person controlling AEW working for Jon Moxley?
Yeah, no, I agree. And it is weird. I think it sucks because, like we said, like we loved the start of the Death Riders and the thought that, you know, like Moxley was sort of in cahoots with somebody, but it feels like one of those things that it would have been better, I think, if they had kind of just not dug their heels in on it as hard as they have. But ultimately, I do feel like the end game is more about Wheeler Yuta than kind of anything else in the Death Riders.
I feel like it's the vehicle to elevate Wheeler Yuta up a couple of levels, and I feel like they're doing it. And I got a feeling that Hangman Adam Page is going to be the guy that takes the title off of Moxley, and this is how we end this story.
You're not going to find me complaining about that. Another Hangman title reign? Yes, please.
Okay, so we're going to do a quick AEW Collision preview, as we're only able to find 2 matches officially announced yet at this time of recording of this episode. And one of them, actually, is one I'm going like, why did we say this for like Double or Nothing? It's Brody King versus Josh freaking Alexander. We're getting this on a random Collision.
Yeah, I mean, it should be great. I'm very excited about Brody King getting another singles match and looking forward to seeing Josh Alexander have another outing.
Now, Tony Khan, if you're listening to this podcast and you let Brody King lose this match, I want to send Bobby after you. I want to send Bob from HR to talk to you.
Seriously, we need to stop having Brody King losing some of these bigger matches on TV. We need him in some title pictures here.
But this is easily going to be one of the best matches on Collision. But also, the other match we know of is going to be another Eliminator match with a possible future AEW Women's World's title shot as Timeless Toni Storm takes on Lady Frost. And this should also be a dang good match.
Yeah, and obviously Toni Storm and Lady Frost, yeah, both going to be fantastic.
Now, if you didn't see last week's Collision, you missed a dang good match between Queen Aniana and Timeless Toni Storm. That match was freaking amazing.
Queen Aminata looks so good since returning from injury, and very happy to see it.
This AEW's women's division has gone light years from when we first saw AEW TV appear, and now this women's division is freaking loaded. Oh,
yeah,
hey,
I was actually just reading an article about the women's division that was like, you know, they were kind of the kind of, you know, stepchild of the brand when it started, and now they're the main act right now.
Well, you know, actually, last week on Collision, we had Anna Jay in a match, which lead to
which was like, what? Where's Anna Jay?
I know.
Back up.
I know. She won the match. Then Penelope Ford appears out of nowhere, attacks her. Then we get Megan Vane laying out Anna Jay. So we're looking like we're going with Megan Vane versus Anna Jay, which is, yes, please, sign me up, please. This should be a good match. It's going to depend on Vane and Anna Jay gelling, and I hope they can. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I would like to see, like we didn't get to see much from Anna Jay after she returned from Japan and stuff like that. And we know about all the time Megan Vane has spent there. So it'll be nice to see maybe Anna Jay be able to try, what she's learned and what she, I would assume, has been doing in her time off, against Megan Vane and someone of her stature.
Yes, I agree with you, Ashley. So we do have one news story that I came across this week, and it's from 411 Mania. They're doing a recap of a interview that Cope did with a podcast, and also some information that got from Fightful, where Cope has said that it's probably time to call it a day after his AEW contract runs out. I didn't know Adam Copeland was like 4 years older than me. I'm about to be 47. He's 51. And in this article from 411 Mania, he's talking about how he can do a match down and it takes about a week for him to recover. And the little Fightful addition to this article was Cope was saying if he tried to do 200 dates like he usually did back in the day, there was no way to do it because literally he has to take so much time to recover from a match now. He thinks he maybe has 2 years left, which I'm going, no, I kind of like my Adam Copeland.
Well, I mean, Cope, listen. I'm not surprised it takes you a week to recover after a match when you jump off a cage from 15 feet in the air and jump through tables and you're doing the craziest stuff we've seen. It would take a 15-year-old a week to recover after that. I can't say I'm surprised. We do know that Copeland over the years, obviously even in WWE and stuff, has had some of the most violent matches in wrestling history. So to see him kind of like understanding, like, he got the chance to come back and do this and maybe being happy with walking away more on his own terms is what's best for him. But like you said, I would be, it would be disappointing, but I could understand. And I do think, like anything, it's always never say never. It might be his last contract, for now. It might be his last contract with AEW. I wouldn't rule out like maybe a WWE return, even if for something short.
Yeah, like you said, professional wrestling, never say freaking never. But we need to kind of wrap this up. So, Ashley, where can we find you on the Super Information Superhighway?
On Blue Sky. It's at groovyash.bsky.social.
And of course, you can follow the show on Twitter, Instagram at the Dynamite Drop. And until we see you next week, we bid you adieu, good night, bang! Top guys out.